So this is another little endeavor we have. Started this, we were trying to remember, we think we started this back in possibly February this year, 2020. Done it before. Basically we set up a couple of worm bins, and we chose, for space reasons, the bucket method. It's basically just bucket. These ones are from Home Depot. Anyways, I brought these outside to kind of give them a bit of a check. I think I've got to, as you can see, they've got sort of, right now there's 3 buckets. So there's the bottom bucket, which collects all the water, and then we've got sort of 2 parts to the tower here, and you can see the vent holes and whatnot, and it's working not bad. It's probably not the most efficient way to vermicompost, or I forget the exact way to pronounce that, but to compost using worms. But this is working pretty good for inside. We just keep these 2 bins in a coolish part of the house, and it's not worked too badly. So anyway, so this is the one. You can see they have been up in the top here a bit. This one's going to stay as is, this top layer, and here's the other one. Sort of the same general setup. So let's see here. I can get these separated. Well, I can get the bottom one off. Oh, here we go. Problem with the handles. So there's the liquid. Oh, there's a couple of little worms and got through there somehow. I'll get them out here in a second, but actually I'll just do you right now. Go in there. And I don't think you want to go back into the liquid there, so you can go there. And if I can save you, well, we'll see what's in the bottom here. So I'm just going to dump this into one of these new buckets. For a little worm tea, and you're in there, so I'm just going to do this. Hopefully you came out. You did not. Another one inside here. As you can see, a few of them have gotten through the that layer. So I guess we'll take this one and do the same thing. You can see the kids wrote their they each claimed a bucket and wrote a little message to the worms. This one's actually generated a little more liquid than the first bucket. So anyways, there's our worm tea. I think we I don't remember the exact volume of worms, but we basically bought a little Ziploc bag sort of full of them, and sort of split it up between the 2 and kind of just let them do their thing to multiply. Can't really see it too well. But so it just sits down and the worms can kind of come up and through the holes as they find them. So I've got all the bins apart here, and this is kind of what I was checking to just see sort of where they were at as far as the bottom layer, which is the one we started them in. And basically both of them are pretty much the same. They're not quite done, which is fine. We're just gonna put them back together, but not all the worms have sort of migrated up through, which is completely fine. I think I will probably give that a little bit longer. Of course, here's the let's back a little bit. Here's the sort of top layer. You can see they're working pretty good on some of that stuff down in there, but we actually bought the one I just poured here, and we're thinking of doing a 3rd tier so that we've got, because it's a volume thing. The bucket doesn't hold as much volume. You can kind of see when the top bucket goes in, so it's sitting about there. It's not really packing that down, but it's pretty much sitting right in the soil, so you don't get a massive volume in there, but still, we're relatively happy with it. Sort of, here's the other one, sort of the same thing. They've generated a little bit more, but they haven't really, they broke most of it down, but they haven't broke it all down. You can see a few of them in there. So I won't probably scrape down the side a little bit, but I'm basically going to put them back together. Just, it's good to drain them out so they don't get too saturated, and then I think later I will drill some holes. Like you can see, here's the bucket. You can see the sort of vent holes all down the side, and then I've got the same size on the bottom. So we'll try a third tier and see how it goes. Anyways, it's kind of a nice little addition for a few things that maybe we don't want to feed to chickens and other animals, but yeah, basically that's our little very small indoor worm composting project, at least for now. Depending on how these multiply, we might start another one. From a space perspective, a few smaller towers is almost nicer than a couple of big indoor bins, but we'll see. Anyways, I did have one of these set up years ago. Quite liked it, but didn't really have the system where you kind of had the multiple tiers to let them come up through to the more recent stuff. But anyways, not unimpressed, and yeah, kind of one of those little side projects we'll probably come back to later. This is something we do that seems to work relatively well. We basically just grind it up. Whatever, like you can see, there's quite a bit of eggshell and various kitchen scraps and such in there. A little bit of garden stuff, and I just kind of pull this back a bit, maybe. Some out. On top of it, that out. Just kind of. We don't add water to this because this stuff has quite a bit of water in it. I'll do about half. Give or take. So that's kind of, I don't know if you can see that one. Just kind of layered it out, and then I'll put this stuff back on top. And really, that's it. And there's our really black sort of worm compost tea that we'll probably dilute a little bit and put on the garden at some point later today. But yeah, probably not the most efficient way to do it, probably not the most scalable way to do it, but it works for our purpose. And if we ever get producing enough of them, which there's quite a few worms in there from the looks of it, kind of thinking more for the winter months, it may be something that we can feed to chickens a little bit too, but I think we would need a few more. But anyways, that's kind of our little setup.